Natalie. Nice of you to join me this afternoon. Hi Natasha. Hope you're both well. Just looking out the window in my craft room at the moment, and it looks as though it's absolutely going to throw it down in a minute. So I just hope we don't get any thunder with it and it interferes with the signal. Fingers crossed, eh? And just give it a couple of minutes just to see if anybody else joins us, and then we'll get stuck in. Hi Marilyn. Nice of you to join me this afternoon. Hi Christine. Hi Anita. Did you all manage to catch Lisa's live last night and see the fabulous new sentiments? Aren't they amazing? Hi Sarah. Hi Kathy. They are just stunning. But then, you know, I say that about everything Lisa brings out, and that's because it's such superb quality, and everything always works together. That is Lisa's, what do you call it, USP. Everything she brings to you will work with everything else she brings to you, and I love that because it gives you fantastic value for money. Hi Lorraine. Right, there's quite a few of you here this afternoon, so I think we'll make a start, and then anybody else that joins us later can catch up, either in the group or on YouTube. So this is the card we're going to be making today, and as you can see, it uses 3 of Lisa's fabulous new 3D slimline embossing folders. Now, when it says slimline embossing folders, please don't think that you can only make slimline cards with them, because that's just not true. I mean, obviously I've done a circle here. Now, when you put a circle into your embossing folder, it's going to overflow, isn't it? It's not gonna fit in there completely. So all I've done, if I make a start, I'll move that to one side, and I'll just show you what I've done as the starting point. It would help if I've got a card blank. Bear with me. Forget the one thing that I need more than anything else, and that's my card blank. So here's my circle, and obviously I've cut this out using the nested scalloped and plain circles dies. These are where have I written it? $14.99. There are 12 dies. And I have to say that there are certain dies that Lisa's brought out that I would consider to be a staple in your craft stash. The circles, the rectangles, the squares, the triangles and the hearts are the ones I'm talking about. Because if you use those as the base of your card, everything else will just flow. You won't have to think too much about what else to put on it. So if you're looking for staple dies for your craft stash, these are the ones I'd go for. If you can't afford anything else, these are the ones I'd go for. Now, you know, $14.99 sounds like quite a bit of money, but there's 12 dies in here, and they're superb quality. They've got a little bit of give in them, like you would expect a metal die to have, but the cut on them is fabulous, and they just do exactly what it says on the tin, basically, and the same will go for the others that I've mentioned. So as I say, to me, that is one of the staples of your craft stash. I use that a lot. So I've cut my circle out, and I've cut my frame of my circle, and all you do to get that is use 2 of the straight edge stitched edged circles and put them together, die cut them together, and it will give you your little frame. And then the middle one, you just use the smaller circle that you've used on this here. So you'll see that I have actually put it through my embossing folder. I mean, it's just, they're superb, aren't they? Those of you that have got these embossing folders will know that the embossing in them is fabulous. I mean, even the deboss, I mean, that deboss is just superb. I know Natasha used this on Wednesday, and the two different looks that you get by inking either the emboss or the deboss, I think is just fabulous. Hi Natalia. Hi Heidi. Hi Sarah. Gosh, quite a few this afternoon, that's nice. Wasn't here last week because I was sunning myself in Portmaddock, well, in the rain on Friday, but never mind. It was a break and it was nice. So, as I was saying, I've embossed this already, and you can see that when I've embossed it, obviously there's a piece that overhangs and isn't going to be embossed. That's not going to matter, because when you put it together with the rest of your card, you're not going to see this piece anyway. And who's going to know that it isn't a completely embossed circle, because nobody else can see it either. So don't just think they're for slimline cards. You can do lots of other things with them, and you can disguise the fact that it isn't embossed completely. There are 3D embossing folders that are a repeat pattern, and you'll be able to cover this with embossing if you wanted to use the whole circle. But because the snowflake one isn't really a repeating pattern, you can't really do that. You're going to end up with seeing different embossing, so you're going to know that you've done it twice, and I don't think you need to, because it's so small and you're not going to see it anyway. So that would be my recommendation, is just go with the flow and disguise the fact that you haven't got embossing on just one small piece of the circle, because nobody's going to know, are they? So I'm going to put my little frame down first and then pop my snowflake embossed piece in the middle. So I'm not measuring this, it's just by eye. I don't mind if it's not completely central. I don't think it's going to matter, to be honest, because there's going to be so much else on here that nobody's going to notice anyway. Oh, moved it now. Right, okay, so that's my little frame put down. Now I'm going to put this in my circle. Now when you're putting this down, obviously you need to bear in mind where your flowers are going to be, and you can see that on my original my flowers are to the bottom left, so that's where my non-embossed piece is going to be, so that you won't see that when you finish the card. Now I'm putting my glue all round, and I would put extra glue where there is no embossing on the card, because the embossing on these is so deep that your glue might sink into the embossing and then not stick. So be generous with your glue. I use the Pinflair bookbinding glue, and it is a superb glue, gives a fabulous adherence, and I love that. I also use the Creative Expressions acrylic glue, which is equally as good, but this is my go-to at the moment. Okay, so there's your basis of your card already done. Hi Connie. Why was I lurking somewhere? Could you not find me? Never mind, you're here now. Okay, so that's the basis of the card done. Now I've also used the large foliage. Now I love this set. It is currently in stock. There are really good stocks of this at the moment. It's $16.99. There are 5 dies, but they are really quite big dies. Hi Doreen. So if you look at those, this is my hand. This big leaf die here is my absolute favourite. These two are the ones that I use more than anything else. But you can see they are really quite good sized dies. So for $16.99, I don't think you can beat that for value. I think that's superb. And they are in stock on Lisa's website and also at Create and Craft as well. So my large foliage leaf is going to go here at some point. I'm not gluing anything down yet or sticking anything down yet. Just put my lid on my glue, because I just want to place everything first so that I can make sure that it all goes where I want it to go. Now on my original card I used 2 poinsettias, and all I've done again is I've used the poinsettia embossing folder. I've used the die, I've cut 3 poinsettias out in white and then put them back in the folder and emboss them. That's the best way to do it, otherwise you'll lose the depth of the embossing if you do it the other way around. Now I know everybody's go-to colour for a poinsettia is red, but I've got to be honest. Hi Franca, no problems. I've got to be honest, I love the white ones. Hi Kim, no apology necessary. I love the white ones, and I just think the little hint of green that you get on the leaves, to me, if somebody said to me, you can have one poinsettia, which one would you prefer? I'd have to go for the white, because I just think it's a nicer plant. I don't know why, just my opinion, I suppose. So today I thought I might go with 3 and make it a little bit more of a sort of feature. So I might just, because I'm going to use a different sentiment, so I might just go with 3. Now they're not going to go down like that, so I'm going to do something else to them in a minute. And then I've used the mistletoe 3D embossing folder, and I've used the die again, and I've cut out my mistletoe leaf on white card, and then all I've done is I've used distressing. This is crushed olive. I've just used a sponge, and all I've done is sponge the deboss side of the folder and then put my piece of foliage. I'll show you what I mean. It's better than trying to explain it, isn't it? So what you have to remember is the embossed side is going to come through your card, and it's going to leave the imprint on the other side of your card. Hi Lisa. So what you need to do is ink your debossed side, because that's the side that's going to press inwards. Okay, so all I've done is I've used my sponge and I've just inked. I'm not going to re-ink it because I've washed it once. All I've done is just brushed with the sponge onto the debossed side of the folder. Okay, and then I've just placed the leaf back in there and run it back through my machine and embossed it again. Sorry, embossed it, and obviously then it will bring out the colour onto the leaves. Now it doesn't cover all the leaves, I don't care about that. I think it's a nicer effect, and I've tried to avoid the green going into the berries, because obviously the berries on mistletoe are white. However, there's always sort of that little tint of another colour, so I don't mind if there's any green on the berries, because I'm going to do something else with the berries in a minute anyway. So that's how I've done the mistletoe. Okay, so I think when I put this down here, I'm just going to put my mistletoe underneath here, like so, and then another one up at the top, like that. Okay, and then when I did the original one yesterday, I used the festive banner stamp and die set. Now these are out of stock at the moment, but I know they're on reorder, so they should be back very soon. But I just think this is a brilliant concept. 12 sentiments, stamped and die cut, all in one go. Run it through twice, 24 sentiments for sort of batch card making. Brilliant. You know, it's not, I just think it's a genius idea. Love them, Lisa. I loved the first lot, and I certainly love these. I think they're amazing. So, because they're out of stock, I thought I'd use a different sentiment today to what I used for the original, and I've gone with the brand new festive double layered sentiments. Now, Lisa's bought this out before in non-festive sentiments, and I just love those. I think that the fact that you can cut out the word and then cut out a background, it's genius, genius. So I'm going to use this one because I wanted to use the same sentiment but in a different way. So I've used Snowflake Kisses, and I've stamped it in VersaFine Clair, and I've used the Morning Mist in grey rather than black, because I think sometimes black can be a little bit in your face. So because I've done the outline of my circle here in grey card, then I thought I'd go with grey on the stamping for the word, and that's why I've used grey for this foliage leaves here. So I wanted it all to tie in. Now the colour that I used on here on the embossing folder was crushed olive. So what I've done is I've die cut the background piece, and then I've used the same sponge and just inked it in the same ink colour. So it's all in crushed olive so that it all ties in. And then that is going to go on there like that. Now I don't mind if it overhangs the card a slight bit. So that's why I wanted to just place everything so that I knew it was going to fit. Now, I quite like the 3, but then I quite liked the 2. So while I'm just adding a little bit of ink to my poinsettias, you decide whether it should be 3 or 2 flowers on my little sort of circle. Now all I'm doing with this is I'm using Lisa's fabulous wonder brushes, and they are a wonder, and I'm using Twisted Citron Oxide because, as I said to you before, the white poinsettias always have that little hint of green on the leaves, and all I'm going to do is just brush a tiny bit from the edge of the flower across it, and I'm not doing heavy strokes, they're just light strokes, because all I want is that tiniest little hint of green on the flowers, on the petals. So although you might get a little bit of green actually on the body of the leaves, I'm not bothered about that, because where the embossing is, it's going to pick up that piece of green that I actually want to sort of stand out, if you like. So this is all I'm doing. It's ever so light. I'm hardly putting any ink on the brush at all, and I just think it makes such a difference to it being a flat white rather than, I think that's just so much more alive, if you like. 3, 3, 3, 2 flowers. 3. Well, 3's winning at the moment, so I've got a little bit more inking to do on here. So, and like I say, I'm not putting hardly any pressure on here at all, because I don't want a lot of ink on the actual body of the petals. All I want is a highlight on where the embossing lines are on the edges of the petals. So I'm not doing any more on there. I'll do the last one, because I think 3 wins. So I'm going to do 3 flowers, and it'll just look slightly different to the one that I put up in the banner earlier on. And these brushes just make this sort of technique easy. You know, it's so quick and easy. I mean, how long did that take? Practically no time at all. I mean, there are so many bristles on these brushes, you're never going to get any harsh lines like you do with the sponges. It's just a fabulous effect, and it'll always be smooth. So I'll just get rid of that little bit of ink on there. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the sentiment down first, because then I can see where I'm going with my flowers. And I think I'm actually going to do it 3D. I wasn't going to, I was going to stick it flat, but I think 3D will look better, and it will give the card a little bit of depth. Yeah, I think the poinsettias with wreath making, Heidi, I think that's what they're made for, to be perfectly honest. They just look so effective when you've sort of put them all round your wreath. They just look amazing. So always like to do a nice wreath card for Christmas for somebody special, usually my mum or Graham's mum, but I just think the poinsettias lend themselves to a beautiful wreath. The other one that I think always looks nice as a wreath, and okay, there's no dye with it, is the magnolia from one of the earlier releases. I think the shape of those flowers just sort of sit really nice around a wreath. I did do a wreath card with a thanks sentiment in it, which I really enjoyed. So I'm going to put my sentiment down there, and as I say, I don't mind it overhanging the edge slightly. It's an 8x8 card, but they always make the envelope a little tiny bit bigger, so a slight overlap isn't going to make a great deal of difference. Okay, so I'll place those there. I'm going to put this piece of foliage down first, because I want that underneath the poinsettias. Think of the word then for a minute. And the magnolia's back next week. Oh, amazing! I love that die, that embossing folder, and because it's such a beautifully embossed, so the embossing is so deep on it, cutting the flowers out isn't a great hardship, to be honest. You know, you think, oh, it hasn't got a dye with it, I won't bother. Please don't think that, because I think, to be honest, the fact that half of the DT cut out parts of the original embossing folders was what gave Lisa the idea for the dies. And it just makes perfect sense. Obviously you can't do dies with every single embossing folder you bring out, that would be ridiculous, and probably quite expensive. So don't think that because it hasn't got a die, you know, you can't cut it out, because you can. Yes, it takes a little bit more time, but it's not difficult. So there's my leaves down there. I'm not going to put these down yet. I want to leave those. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of shaping on this, and it's not going to spoil the embossing because I'm only using my fingers. I'm not going to put it on a pad and sort of heavily give it some shape. I just want it to have a little bit of shape to the flower so that it sort of sits proud, and then I'm going to use some 3D pads underneath the flower to give it a bit of height, and that's why I decided to go 3D on the sentiment. So that one's going to go there, and then the one in the middle, and like I say, it's just a tiny bit of pressure, just bending over the edges of the leaves just to give it a little bit of dimension. Yeah. Okay, so before I put those down, I'm actually going to stick down the mistletoe so that they're in position and out of the way and done. Now, I know I said I was going to do something on the berries, and I haven't forgotten that. I'm going to do that in a second. So that's going to go about there, I think. I don't think it matters that it's covering the sentiment a little tiny bit, because you can all see what the word is, can't you? You don't necessarily have to be able to see all the word to know what it says. And then I'll just put this one down as well. I just like the effect that you get by adding a little bit of ink to the embossing folder. It doesn't sort of colour the whole of the leaf, it just gives it sort of that variegated look, and I just think that's nicer than trying to colour the whole of the leaf sometimes. So now I can add my poinsettias. So I'm going to be using some 3D foam pads These are quite big ones. And to be honest, I only bought these because it gave me 4 flexes on my order. Well, I mean, it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it, really? Hi, Anne. Yeah, I've done that as well, Natalia. In fact, I was going to cut one of the poinsettias in green and cut out some of the leaves on the white one and put the green one behind it, if you know what I mean. But I don't know whether I was cutting the wrong leaves, or I don't know, but I didn't like it, so I changed my mind. It's a woman's prerogative to change her mind, apparently, so I did. Sorry if you can hear the mobile disco outside. My neighbour just popping off to work, bless him. Okay, so just make sure I'm happy with where these are going, and then we can stick them down. Yeah, I think so. So I've put 2 pieces of foam because I want the flowers to sort of sit quite high. So I've used 2 pieces of foam, one on top of the other. I think it just gives it enough height to make it look a little bit. I know it makes a difference when you're posting it, but perhaps maybe make it a card that you're giving to somebody that you can hand it to rather than put it through the post. Or make a little box for it. I suppose you could do that as well, couldn't you? But I just think it would be a beautiful card to receive. So if you don't want to post it, make it a hand deliverable card. Okay, so that one's going to come down a little bit and pop in there like that. Just press that down. I'm not going to lose any of the embossing on there because it's so deep it'll take more than that to lose the embossing. So on the berries, I'm just going to add a little bit of sparkle. These are the sparkle pens, the Spectrum Noir sparkle pens, just to sort of give it a little bit of a lift. And the reason I left it till afterwards was because I knew I wouldn't need to do them all. And then when that's dry, I used a black pen, which I'll do in a second because I want to let that dry first. I just used a black pen and picked out the little where the berries sort of come off the stalk, so you're left with that little dot of black. Right, more choices. When I did yesterday's card, I used the new AB Gems, these beauties, and when I did yesterday's card, I've used the crushed ice. And I thought, oh yes, they'll all look the same, and of course they don't, do they? Because, well, you wouldn't expect them to, would you? So I thought I'd go with something different today. So today, I thought I'd go with the In the Garden. And I've picked out the ones that I want. I've gone for the sort of yellowy ones. Or silver. So you decide. Silver or... There you go, there's your choices. I'll just let my camera catch up so that you can see what I'm showing you. Okay, so there's the silver in there, or there's the In the Garden, which have got a sort of a yellowy tint to them. So which shall I use on my card? Because you know me, I can't make a card without adding a bit of bling. So silver or In the Garden. In the Garden, In the Garden, yellow. Okay, In the Garden it is then. Okay, so I'm putting, when I did yesterday's, I did all the gems in the same direction, and I don't usually do that. I usually do them in a different direction on each corner so that it looks a little bit different. So that's what I'm going to do today. I used my fabulous pickup tool from Lisa Horton Crafts and add my gem. I love these. I was running low on pearls, so I'm so glad that these came out when they did, because now I've got more sparkly to be able to use on my cards. So thank you, Lisa. I love these. I think when you just add a little bit of sparkle to your card as a finishing touch, I think sometimes it just lifts the card that extra little bit. So there you go. There's today. I like that one better. So that's today's, and that was my original from yesterday. And I think definitely the 3 is three's a winner for me. So don't forget, these fabulous embossing folders are back on your TV screens tomorrow, 2:15 and 9 PM. Well, that's 9 PM if Lisa's got any stock left, I'm assuming. The layered words are on, all the 3D embossing, the slimline embossing folders are on, the AB gems are on. So, and obviously on the website there is other stuff, so everything that I've used is on the website, albeit apart from the festive banners, they're not in stock at the moment. But everything else is on the website, everything else is on Create and Craft. So just everything that you see here that is on Create and Craft tomorrow should be on Lisa's website on Monday. So if you're not a Create and Craft customer or you prefer not to buy from Create and Craft, you can buy from Lisa on Monday. But you know, Create and Craft, you'll get an extra 10% off if you remember. So £16.99 comes down to £14.99. What you know, what could be better? £1.70 rather. So £15.49. But I just think, who wouldn't be happy to receive cards like that? I think they're fabulous. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for you today. Don't forget Lisa's shows tomorrow. Don't forget the Christmas in June challenge that is in the group at the moment. I know Facebook is messing everybody around with the getting access to albums, but looking on my computer I can see it is back today as it should be. So hopefully you'll be able to go in and add all your entries. Lisa always gives a fabulous prize, as I think Sue would attest to. So if you've got time to enter, please do. And enjoy Lisa's shows tomorrow, and then don't forget she's back again on the following Tuesday. I think it's in the morning. And again, some superb products. You will have already seen testers in the group this morning, the storage little cabinet. Just a superb piece of kit. I'm going to need at least 3 for all my mermaid tails and gems. So I hope my bank manager's in a good mood. Okay, have a lovely rest of the day today. Have a fabulous weekend. Thank you, Natasha. 9:45 Tuesday, papers and MDF. So have a nice weekend, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again next Friday. Claire will be with you on Tuesday, and Heidi will be with you on Wednesday. Bye for now.